Felicia Michaels.
Joey Diaz.
We're back, bitches. Beauty and the Beast podcast, motherfuckers. Felicia Michael looking sexy as a motherfucker.
Oh my goodness, Joey. How are you today?
Good. I'm pretty good. How are you, my love?
I am good. Just getting my business done, doing my thing.
I seen that great weekend. I went to Vegas just for a day.
Right.
I just went for Friday for the show with Rogan and those guys. I came back Saturday because I got the surgery tomorrow. And I tell you what, it didn't even bother me till this morning in the pool. Like this morning at the pool, I looked up and it was 11:30, and I go, at this time tomorrow, I'll be like a voodoo doll with needles and fainting and being pale.
All right, just relax.
No, I'm good. You know what, man?
Does it make
I'm
you
in
nervous?
fucking God's hands. I don't like none of that stuff. Like, I'm not good, but neither is anybody else.
Yeah.
Nobody says to you, I'm excited.
No,
I'm
it's
going
scary,
for surgery
yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Guess what? You know what? I got nothing to do on Tuesday. I'm going to go to the doctor and see if he does surgery on my fucking eyeball. Nobody does that. So what am I got to be worried about? Nobody likes it. You go in there, you know, I'm going to put the iPod on, Santana, some shit, and look the other fucking way. They're going to clip me with a thing in the hand. I already got the needles counted. I'm going for the tube down the throat, but if they give me the epidural block, so be it. I'll bend over and take it like a man. My legs will be fucking dead. And then
God,
that's
you're
it.
gonna make me faint.
Yeah, that's it. You put your leg out. You know, these guys know what they're doing. We get on stage, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
These guys know what the fuck they're doing, you know? So I'm ready to go. Hopefully, walking with anything has got to be horrible. Anything, an elbow.
They say when you're done. What was the matter with your stomach?
It was just this whole disaster. It started with my appendix.
Year. And it sucked. It sucked to carry it on into your life. You know, you don't feel good.
That's what they say though. Once you get knee surgery, the amount of the amount that you feel better, that you realize how much you were putting up with it, it just opens your life. It's like you know when you fall, it's like fall in love, or like you had a new lease on life. That's what they say. Speaking of taking it like a man, by the way, I had to get a finger in my ass. I fell off an aircraft carrier last year and was shitting blood. And I go to the doctor, and they go, "We're gonna have to do a rectal exam." So I'm pouring blood out my ass. Oh God! Just like sit on the toilet and it's dripping into the toilet.
Oh God Almighty!
Yeah. On the aircraft
carrier? I fell off the aircraft carrier into the water. I was doing something and for a TV show, and I cracked my ribs, internal bleeding, whatever it was, and so I'm shitting blood on the plane. On the plane flight home, I realize I'm shitting blood, and I'm like, great. So I go to the doctor, and he says, we're going to have to do a rectal exam, take your clothes off. And so I take my clothes off, and I go to take it like a man. I bend over on the table to let him finger my ass, and he goes, what are you doing? I go, that's like almost like permission. It's like you get, like get on all fours, you're going to film me. He goes, no, lay on your side. I went, what? He's like, lay on your side. That's how they do it. They lay you on your side. Yeah. I go, what are you trying to fuck a fat chick?
And you don't even feel it either.
Yeah,
they do it perfect. They massage your ribs and shit.
They lift your leg up like the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, oh my God, like you're blocking it. And how they do it is if I knew how to do it like that, they rub you like your rib to throw you off. And
yeah.
You got something in your ass. But you don't
it's
feel
like a pickpocket. They tap you on the shoulder and stick a finger in your ass.
You don't feel it in your ass. You feel it in your stomach. Like, I felt there's 2 fingers in my belly button. And it woke everything up. It woke every sense up in my life.
That I got hard.
Yeah, when you took it out, you don't feel violated, but you feel something. Like you walk to the car, like all fucked up. You're driving on the 101, all fucked up. You're like, I'm gonna go home.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to meetings. I don't want to talk to nobody. It is a weird feeling.
You just want to get in the bed and get in a fetal position.
Yeah, he makes you get in a fetal position. He does, and you can't shit that morning because you're self-conscious. How embarrassing. He shits a finger up your ass. Sometimes you take a shit.
When they give you a rectal exam, how far up do they put it? Do they like poke your innie into an outie? Like, is it that far in?
They go in. They're looking for something.
They're looking
clearly,
for something.
So they're in there. They're not just like it's a college and just see if I can get away with it.
Right.
They're like in there, like excuse me. Yeah, he was in there for a little while with me.
It's amazing. I didn't go to a doctor from the time I was 16 to the time I was 35 or 37 or something. I came to LA and I had a toothache and I had an abscess, and I finally realized, I have SAG insurance.
Yeah.
And I went to see the Sinai. They did what they did, and I never used it. I was petrified of doctors.
I still am, kind of.
All of a sudden, over the years, I've gone and I've started a relationship with this guy, and we're friends, and I bring him pot cookies, and he talks to me from the heart. Yeah, you got to give him something. He always says to me, put it on my desk. Don't let nobody see it. So I just put it on his desk, and he refers me to all the best doctors, and now I trust him. The lady who drew the blood out last week, this is her 4th time. Black lady, phenomenal.
Yeah.
You with a little wig on, tremendous. A little blonde wig, like so she gives you a little Eve type of action. And she's She's like 260 with a blonde wig on, and you're like, this is classic. And they just put something in you, and they fucking take it out with a foot pump now. There's no more suction like in the old days.
Oh, really?
You don't feel like your fucking vein coming through a tube. All you hear is like a bass drum. You think John Bonham's in the room, and all of a sudden you're like, they bend your arm over.
Yeah.
And that's it, and you're out of it. So, you know what, man? I'm not fucking. And I was telling my wife the other day, she's like, how long have you had this dumb fucking disease that you faint and shit? So I started thinking about it. I remember one time my stepdad was a big tough guy, and I was in Florida.
Yeah.
I would spend my summers in Florida with my godfather. So I would go down there. I would go to Red Berry's baseball camp in Kendall for a week. I would learn to play the piano. My aunt was a very big teacher, and she would make you do fucking homework in the daytime, even if you didn't have summer school.
Yeah.
You know, she's old school Cuban, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to do 2 times 2, and you had to play the drums, and then at 12 she let you play, and the whole summer I was putting it off. And I didn't know anything about a blood test, so they took me to a lab. They're like, on a Monday morning, you're going to have to go to a lab a week before your tonsils get taken out.
Yeah.
So I remember crossing the street. I still remember where the thing is. They sell like walkers and, toilet seats for old people. And you just sat at a table and they took blood out. No big fucking deal. But I'll never forget they had a stand of like knee braces and elbow braces, like a combo pharmacy type.
Yeah.
I'm 12 and it's hot out in New Jersey. It's like August. I have my little t-shirt on, my shorts on. I walk in there. My dad's like, and I didn't even know about blood tests. Like, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And I remember sitting down and they stuck that in the fucking needle in me. And it took me somewhere. Like I was falling off a cliff. Like I blacked out. And I got up with the needle in my arm and I just started wrecking the fucking joint. Like, knocking over magazine stands. And my dad was a tough guy that was very embarrassed.
Yeah.
Like my behavior was, but what was wrong with you? Like he just went off on me, and then they took the needle out, and then, I remember walking. I didn't show up for the tonsil operation. After that fit, I take my tonsils out. There's something wrong with you.
I'll see you guys when I'm 39.
Yeah, I'm not doing it again. And then years later, I told Felicia that I went back to the hospital because I was smoking pot, and they sprayed, the government used to spray paraquat on weed in the 70s.
Yeah.
So when you smoked it, it gave you a lung infection. And again, they put me in and I had forgotten about the 4 years earlier when I got my blood. And the guy's like, I'm here to take blood out. And I'm like, guy, I'll do it standing up. Because finally he was torturing me so much. I had peed the bed. I had peed the bed the night before from the shock of the hospital. And in the hospital, they don't have sheets. In your house, when you pee the bed, all you do is get a towel, put it down, and you just roll right over and finish the drain. You know what I'm saying? But when you pee in the hospital, it's rubber sheets, so you're swimming in your own piss.
Yeah.
So I basically took the blanket and went on the chair. And he came in, he's like, we got to take the blood out. And I'm like, guy, I just peed, I'm scared. He goes, come on, no problem.
God, that's so...
And I'm like, you want to take blood out, motherfucker? Take it out. And I'll never forget, they had a shopping cart type deal then with tubes.
Yeah.
They would go from room to room. And I remember him taking the blood out, and next thing you know, the cart is tipped over, and I'm on top of him with the needle in my arm, blood, and he's like, get off me. Get off me. I told you cocksucker, not to take blood out, and it's always bothered me. Like, it's
really?
Just, and some people are scared of snakes. Some people are scared of roaches.
I'm scared of heights.
I'm just scared of fucking needles. Still,
and I thought I got over it. I really thought I got over it.
I see you on Bert the Conqueror.
I know. I really thought I got over it. And then this weekend we were in D.C. and we went up. We had to go up this elevator, and it took us up. I didn't realize, but it's a glass elevator, and it took us up 10 stories. And I just started feeling my knees get weak. And then I started trying to do like this positive affirmation in my head of like, why am I getting nervous? Because I don't want to be afraid of heights. And I said to Leanne, I go, you know what? I bungee jumped higher than this one time. She was, really? I said, yeah. And I said, but it's just fucking, you have no control over it. I wish I had control over it. I wish I could just go, I'm not scared of that shit. But man, if my knees start trembling and I start having this feeling of like flying off. Like when I jumped off the stratosphere, I was the first person to jump off the stratosphere. Stratosphere is like 1,300 feet.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And so you have to, it's a controlled descent. So I started having dreams the whole week before that I was falling off buildings. Like every night I had a dream I was falling off a building. Every fucking night. And I'd wake up and I'd be on the corner of the bed. Like I don't know if it was subconscious or what. And then the night before I jumped off the stratosphere, like I was like, all right, I'm gonna drink myself to sleep, just wake up hungover and do this shit hungover. And I woke up in the middle of the night, wide awake, panic attacks, throwing up in a bathtub, uncontrollably, sweating uncontrollably. The bed was soaking wet from sweat, and I can't stop throwing up. I call my wife, and I go, hey, I'm fucking running away. She goes, what? I go, I'm renting a car downstairs. We're in Vegas. I'm renting a car, and I'm driving in the desert. If anyone calls, don't tell them where I am. I'm not doing this. I made some really poor life decisions, and this is one of them. I should have never. I remember thinking, why did I ever take this show? This is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. And then she goes, be a man, call the producers. And I was like, I was like, all right. So then that morning, I woke up, called the producers, got up out of bed, slept maybe an hour all night, called the producers and said, hey, I can't do it. And they were like, it's totally fine. I understand there's going to be things that you can't do, but you need to not do it on the edge. You need to not do it like harnessed in. That's when you got to back out, because then we're going to make a show out of this, but you can't just not do it. Like, you just got to get all the way, get dressed, get harnessed in, do the interview, get on the edge, go, ah!
That's how they get you.
Yeah, and go, I'm not going to do it. So I go, fine, I can fucking do that. So I go downstairs, get harnessed in. I get this black chick with me the whole time. Black women are always comforting in like scary moments. For some reason, they always make you feel, and she was more scared. And so we get all, and I'm like doing the whole act, throw me off your building. Everyone's laughing. I get up on the corner. I'm harnessed in my head going, 5 seconds until I tell everyone I'm not doing this, 10 seconds until, and my cameraman, this guy Scott, starts giggling. He's harnessed off the side of the building with a camera, and he starts giggling and like kind of lowers the camera, and I go, what? And he goes, there's like fucking 400 people waiting for you to jump. He was like, the mayor's down there with a shot of tequila, and he goes, there's a 4th grade class by the mirror. He goes, by the windows, and then I turn around, there's all these kids going, Bert,
Oh my God.
So he goes, it would just be easier for you to jump than to spend the next 2 hours, 20 years of your life telling everyone why you didn't jump. And then I was like, fuck it, I'm jumping, I'm fucking jumping. And he's like, no, we're not rolling. So I just fucking jumped, and they missed it. They fucking missed it. I had to go back to Vegas a month later and jump again. I fucking missed it.
Oh my God.
That is awesome.
But it's amazing what fear makes you do sometimes, and I love it.
You're right.
I am the king of fear. Like everybody.
Seriously?
I am. I don't know how to say. I am propelled by fear. Like I need to think about something that scares me.
Me too.
I need to think about something that's like life scared me. Life scared me. Getting on a plane and moving away from New Jersey, the thought scared me.
Yeah.
And I look back at my life, all those steps when I was 16 scared the shit out of me. But I did them. Years ago, I didn't like needles. So what did I do? I go to acupuncture once a week. In the first year, I passed out once a month. I had fucking acupuncture. Fell off my fucking chair one time. I mean, I've gone through thousands of things. But, we're attacked by fear sometimes. And if you don't, you're up there, you're strapped in. He knew. Yeah. He had you. You're strapped in. This is nothing. This is nothing.
You hired that 4th grade class.
And it really is. And I was telling Felicia last week that for me, it's like the feeling of getting raped. It's a belief you have that I'm scared of heights. I'm fucking scared of needles. And all of a sudden, it's that one doubt in your mind that you just go, you know what? Take the fucking blood out. And you look the other way, and your whole body goes dead. And it's the same with comedy. We're the kings of this shit. We've been scared with comedy. If you still don't get fucking things,
I was
then you ain't real.
I'm at the DC Improv this weekend. I'm sitting by the server station off to the left, like right when you walk in the club, off to the left, and I'm massaging my stomach because I'm fucking nervous. Sold out, room sold out, and I don't know. I've never been like a sellout kind of guy. Like I've never sold out shows, but for the past 6 months to 8 months, shows are starting to sell out,
sure.
and I'm starting to get real nervous again, like I did when I started. And one of the waitresses walked by. This is the second show Saturday, and she goes, "What? Are you nervous?" And I was like, yeah. And then I realized I always get fucking nervous. I always get nervous. I always got to take a shit before I go on stage. I always, I am always nervous. Always. And I've never gone on stage whatever.
Do you think a fucking plumber comes into your house, right? And he goes, hi, Mr. Kreischer or Mrs. Felicia.
Yeah.
What's going on? Well, the thing is clogged. He goes into his fucking truck and he gets what he needs. As he's walking up the stairs, do you think he gets fucking butterflies? Not at all.
No.
I do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
And we got 60 years here of comedy, right? 15, 20. And you're like, how many times 20 minutes before the stage, I got no material. What the fuck? Are we the kings of that?
I forget everything.
I have no material. I have no fucking material for these people.
Yeah.
And even the material I have, I don't remember it. So I don't know what I'm going to tell these people.
Yeah.
That's every fucking night. You think a plumber forgets how to fix a fucking sink?
I think plumbers.
I'm just using the plumber,
I know, but I think people.
Lawyers get nervous.
Yeah, I think everybody freaks out. I think if you're a plumber and you're just learning how to do it, and you
go
to a big house, there's a big job,
like
and
if you're talking about a plumber for 15 years, I can't imagine.
I can't. Yeah. How the fuck do we, every gig, we fly, we take the flight, we get to a hotel room, everything's beautiful.
Yeah.
And once that clock hits 6:30, it's a panic. I write my set list out without the joke. I jerk off in the shower. I stay in there an extra 15 minutes thinking of my material. I rehearse a little bit in there. Like, all I need is the first 3 minutes, and I'm good.
Yeah.
If I have the first 3 minutes down, I'm good. If I don't have those first 3 minutes, it's gonna be a bumpy fucking ride. You know.
I like that first minute you come on stage and you don't know what you're gonna say. Like those, for me, that's that great. That's. I feel like
that.
I feel like that is like if I go in and I start off with a joke and I open up and I go if I tell a joke, I can't even think of one right now. But I used to have a joke. Jim Norton used to make fun of me because it was the fucking worst joke in the world about my name. My name's Bert. I know what you're thinking. Hot, sexy name. Do you do porn? No, I don't. It's the last name in here to sex. Some chick going, Bert, Bert, Bert. It was a noise joke, and that would be my opening joke. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm more creative if I go up and with nothing in my head, and then just try to get somewhere, like something to get me to point B to start in with something. Like I feel like that's so much more. The most nervous I've ever been, and I'm talking like, I remember this is gonna sound so amateurish, but doing Last Comic Standing 2, they did the first round, and then you go to New York to do the next round, and I remember being so nervous that I was backstage, and I remember thinking, if this is how nervous I'm going to be, I shouldn't do this anymore. So I was like, this is unhealthy. Like my legs were sweating, like my stomach was bad. I was like, it wasn't even enjoyable. And then I was like, all right, I need the nerves to make me alert. Like if I don't have the nerves, I don't think I'm not going to be alert. But I go, I need to manage them. And then I just got through. And then doing Bert the Conqueror was a lot of the things that I have a show on Travel Channel, not just but where I do dangerous shit. And I started realizing, all right, what was happening is I was exacerbating my nerves with caffeine, alcohol, with hot food, with all this shit, no sleep, no workout, and that was making my nerves worse. And so I learned almost how to manage my anxiety with like staying away from caffeine. Like I won't fuck around with coffee if I'm on the road or if I'm about to fly or any shit like that. Like I'll have it now because I know I have nothing to do all week. I'm in Brea, so that's a cakewalk. But like I'll stay away from. I haven't had spicy food in so long, and I can't imagine not living without spice. I love hot food.
You broke it down that much.
Because I started figuring out. I was like, man, if I eat real base and I don't fuck with my stomach and drink, I'm never gonna quit drinking. So that's something that's always gonna be there. But
you partied, dog.
Yeah.
How long have you been partying like this?
Fucking a long time. I used to. You ever do that thing where you're living unhealthy and then you look at the guy ahead of you and you go, well, at least I'm not doing it as long as he has. But then I've been doing it, I guess, longer than Attell. And then because I started drinking hardcore when I was 22. When I went to Russia, that's when I started drinking like every night and partying. And then from 22, I'm 39 now. I mean, and I haven't. But I've had my liver test. I'm fine. I'm healthy. But I'm like, man, one day it's gonna catch up. I gotta slow it down sometime. I've slowed it down in LA. I don't drink in LA. I try not to drink in LA. I'll drink on the road. I drink pretty heavily when I fly. And then I try, yeah. I drink aggressively when I fly.
When you fly, I have one drink when I fly and I'm done.
Seriously?
One drink, one Bloody Mary.
I don't like to drink when I fly.
It drives me out too much.
Yeah.
And it's
I don't
just,
like to drink when I fly. I wish I could say that. There have been mornings where I go, I don't want to drink. I was in Miami one time. I was like, I don't want to drink. I'm tired. I don't feel good. I don't want to drink, but I have to drink. I have to drink like 6 beers before I get on the plane. So it's like fucking 6 a.m. I'm the only one at the bar. It's just me and the bartender. I'm just murdering beers trying to get myself on that plane. Because if I don't get them, I'll be white. I've had white knuckle flights. I went to Europe one time with my wife, sat next to her, and I wasn't drinking. I was trying to not drink. I squeezed her leg so hard there was a black and blue handprint on it, and that
I hate to fly, so I can understand your pain. And it all started because I flew since I was a kid because my dad was in the Army, so we lived all over the world. And one time when I was first doing comedy, I had a flight from L.A. to, I think, Seattle. And it goes across the trade winds, and it was so bumpy, and the stewardesses were all falling down, and it scared the shit out of me. Like I couldn't take gigs for like 2.5 years after that because it scared the shit out of me. Like
seriously?
I really hate to fly. Yeah. And listen to this. So when I was married, my husband at the time, I was opening up for Howie Mandel, and he was like, I told Howie, don't make practical jokes because Felicia really has a fear of flying, right? So fucking Howie, I meet him in Wisconsin or somewhere for some gig, and he has the pilot show up, and the pilot looks like he's 22 years old. And he's all like, yeah, they're gonna let me take off. Howie's saying this, I've been practicing, and like he would do it till he was in the plane, and you were sitting there, and then you're like, what do I do?
Are you
the door's
fucking
closing.
serious?
Oh my
It's
god,
fucking.
yeah.
I freak out on little planes. The
Really?
smaller
Oh, yeah,
the
little
plane,
planes,
the
I
tougher
don't
it
dig
is.
that,
For
yeah.
Wait, I've seen you on videos singing in the.
That's a 747 with 20,000 people on the fucking plane. I'm talking about, when you're a kid and you fly into Puerto Rico and you have to go to a small airport. Those little fucking tractor planes, they take you to.
Yeah.
I'm not even the one that there's a. Where do you go? Like, let's say you have to go to Iowa.
Iowa,
City or
yeah.
something. You got to
Yeah,
fly into
yeah.
Chicago and then take a fucking propeller flight.
And bombardiers.
Yeah, people have parachutes. They come on. We have no drinks. We have a parachute.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck? I should have just rented a car. Those are the planes.
Oh, I was thinking about that. I got to fly to Seattle at the end of the month. And I was like, I was in the shower today and I was like, I don't want to do it because you got to fly Air Alaska and you can't get upgraded. So I have to buy a first class ticket. And then I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to drive. I was like, how long it can't be that far to drive to Seattle.
24 hours, man.
Oh, never
Is it
mind. I
really?
guess I'll fly.
24.
Oh,
24 is nothing.
yeah.
From LA, you could do it in
I could take a train, maybe.
22.
Yeah.
You don't want to take those trains. You see the Denzel Washington movie? Those motherfuckers are derailing. Helicopters are chasing you. I'm done with fucking trains. I took one train one time. I took a train. I got a fallout in Myrtle Beach. I was down in Miami, and I took a train from Miami to Myrtle Beach for like $62. Perfect. I get a gram of blow. Put it in my pocket, get a couple cocktails. You ever get on a fucking train? They bang you at every level. They're real Jews on those fucking trains.
Yeah.
You want water, it's $8. You got to buy the whole fucking meal. You just can't buy
You
the
can't buy a
sandwich.
snack, yeah.
Got to buy the whole fucking meal. I mean, it was a fucking... At the end of the thing, I dropped $300.
Yeah.
I should have just fucking flew.
Because you're living on that train.
Yeah, you want a blanket?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
another thing.
yeah,
Oh, you want
yeah.
a cupcake? It's $19. They got you by the... What are you going to do, stop the train? Let me go to 7-Eleven? They fucking got you.
Oh, I took a train from England to Amsterdam because I did this gig in Amsterdam, and I was like, I'm not getting on some Icelandic air from Heathrow to. I don't trust, Cunnilingus or whatever the name of that air. Any of those airlines that aren't American, I don't trust any of it. And then I start thinking, how do they know? Do they all talk English? How do they know? How's a guy from Britain talk to someone from Amsterdam who's flying over Belgium? What the fuck? So I go, I'm just taking a train. Man, I spent like $700 on train tickets round trip. It was like, are you shitting me?
I don't mind any flight. I'm not going to lie to you people. Any flight. It's the flight with people that are kind of like third world nation-ish, and I'm not insulting anybody. Like, if I had to get on a flight with Indians and they started whipping out hummus,
Yeah.
I'd fucking jump off that plane. If I smell hummus on a
serious?
flight, yeah.
Really?
That, when
There are flights like that too.
when you smell those Thailand toes and shit and fucking... they come on a plane with a dead chicken eating fucking...
Yeah.
I've
They're
seen
gonna
those
cook on those
movies.
flights. They cook on
You
those flights.
smell that shit. Like, if I'm on a
Yeah.
flight... Listen, if I'm on a flight straight and you bring McDonald's on, I'm going to give you a fucking eyeball. Like,
Yeah.
really, you dirty motherfucker?
Yeah.
But when you're on a flight hungover, you've been snorting for 3 days and eating pussy, and you're ready to puke as it is, and you get to the airport, you get to Miami airport, thank God there's nobody at the Cuban joint. Starbucks is a ghost town at the Miami airport, because why would you pay $4 for that ass water
Yeah.
when for $1 I'll get high Nutrien at, not Versailles, but what's the one at the Miami airport? That's the only good thing about Miami International
Oh,
Airport.
yeah.
That they could throw you out of the cab, your jaw's still going, sperms coming out of your dick. You got no energy. As long as you make it to the ticket window,
Yeah.
there's Cuban food, there's the little windows, and
Yeah.
there's the fucking cafeteria. And then you just walk. No, they know because it's the national juice of cocaine people. You
Yeah.
just point like, and they'll give you the coffee in a cup that you have to break 4 ways. Why do you think they do that? You ever see that? When you order Cuban coffee, you go, I can only get a Cuban coffee. They go, you want cortadito or the cup? If they give you the cup, they give you 4 little cups so you can share it with your friends.
Yeah.
Animals like me drink the whole fucking thing with sugar to the tea. You have to. You ever see how they make it?
Yeah.
They just pour sugar as they're talking to you, and they stir it. They put sugar in it when it's dry. Put a little bit of coffee on that, and stir it into the coffee to make it thick. Then make it so it's really fucking thick. You drink one of those. Between minutes, you can feel the heat going through your head, and then it goes down, and all the booze and everything. You have to run right to the bathroom because it comes out of your asshole. There's no peeing. You can smell the vodka coming out of your muffler. Everything, the blow, the Percocets.
I'm imagining Felicia knows absolutely nothing about me, so I'll tell you everything. I'll tell you everything about
I
me.
looked on your website, but you had all the clips, which were awesome, by the way, but not a lot of information about yourself.
So in 97, Rolling Stone magazine, 1997, Rolling Stone magazine wrote an article about me, calling me the #1 party animal in the country. So
how'd they find out about it?
They did. The journalist was going to write an article about Florida State because that was called in 1997 the #1 party school in the nation. So he went down to write an article, and he called like the president of the student body, the president of Scalp Hunters, the president of Lambda Chi, the president, like all the big organizations. And each person he called, the first 5 people he called, all said my name. They're like, you got to hang out with Bert. Bert's the guy who's been here the longest. He knows everyone. You'll have a great time. So by the 5th call, he says, just call me. So he called Bert. So he calls me. I'm literally in the middle of a bong hit when the phone rings. So as it gets handed to me, and I'm like finishing up a bong, and I'm like, hello. He's like, gives me his pitch, and I exhale. And at the end of his pitch, going, hey, can I hang out with you for a week? He goes, are you smoking pot? And I said, yeah. And then I take another hit, and he goes, this is fucking perfect. So then he comes down, stays with me for a week, and we just party. They get back to New York, and he writes his article, and then the editor of Rolling Stone's like, it's too broad a subject. Let's just make it about this kid. So then they changed the subject about Florida State to just me. Let's call him the #1 party animal in the country. Oliver Stone options right to my life. I kind of get offered book deals, but not really. But like, I get an agent. He's like, we got a book deal. The Oliver Stone options. I say in the article I want to be a stand-up. So a morning radio show, the big morning show in Tallahassee, puts together at a bar, Potbellies. They put together a stand-up comedy show. They get 4 touring comics in Florida to do 20 minutes each. Now, having done stand-up for 14 years, I know what a horrible idea this is. 4 comics who do the road. 4 road comics. 4 hacks that I've never heard of to this day. Each do 20 minutes, right? I go up at the end to do 30 minutes, and it's sold out. And basically, they just were I think they were looking. They were like, who cares if it's good or it's bad? We get the door. So we do the show, and I kill. I do 30 minutes of much to what I do now is pretty stream of consciousness, no real jokes, just kind of interacting, talking off the top of my head, kind of getting laughs, and I don't know why I'm getting laughs, and I kill, I get done, the morning show goes, hey, we're going to give you your own morning show. We want you to take over for the guy, they got the head disc jockey guy there, well, you're going to take over his slot in 2 months. You're going to go into the show, you're going to start working with the show like Monday, and at the end of month, and in 2 months, it's going to be your show. And I was like, fuck yes. So I went, I had a drink with the guy whose show it is, and I go, he goes, so they pitch you the thing? And I said, yeah. And he goes, you're in? I said, yeah, 100%. And he goes, good. And I said, where are you going? And he goes, I'm going to New York. And I was like, why? And he looks at me, he goes, who the fuck wants to live in Tallahassee? And I was like, well, not me now. Like, I just was about to have a job here. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm moving to New York too. And so I turned down the radio show, moved to New York, started doing stand-up at the Boston Comedy Club, barking at the door. No one was really barking at the time. You'd stand in the front and bring people in. Started doing that. 6 months in, Will Smith discovered me, and I started doing TV. So it was that was like my short. But so, yeah, I was a big partier in college. I was probably one of the biggest. But I don't know. I remember what your question was. Now I feel like I've just been talking about
One thing. I'm sorry, Felicia.
Oh, did you graduate with a degree?
Oh, fuck. Because of the way it's set up, you say you're graduating and you just apply for graduation, and then you can walk and you get the gown. I sat next to Warwick Dunn, football player he ended up playing for the Bucks. He was like the big football player. They sat us next to each other. I don't know. The whole time I'm going, why am I sitting? How odd is it? I'm sitting next to Warwick Dunn, and me and him talk to each other. They're taking pictures of us. I was literally famous. This is '97. This is before reality shows were. I did so much television press for this. I was literally famous. Talked to Work Done the whole time. I go home and I'm gonna move to New York, and I get my report card and I failed 2 classes. So I'm like, shit. Well, I knew I'd worked the system a lot. I'd been there 7 years. I knew that you could. There was a way to allow you to graduate to make up the credit without having to retake the class. I knew that. I went to those teachers, and the one teacher was a creative writing teacher. Me and Ricky Cruz had him together. And the guy looked me in the face. I went to his little cube of an office. I said, listen, I failed your class, but I want to make it up. It's been a really crazy 3 months, because I was literally entertaining every host of anything entertainment-filled would come to Tallahassee and party with me. So it's been crazy 3 months. Can I make up the class? Teacher looks at me. He goes, go fuck yourself. I said, what? He goes, I'm never going to fucking pass you. He He was like, you're famous. What do you need this for? What do you need a degree for? And I said, my dad wants me to graduate. And he's like, you tell your dad to go fuck himself. He's like, I'm never going to help you. I hope that one day you look back at this and you realize what a piece of shit human being you are. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, are you like this is, I'm like, am I getting punked? I leave the class. I'm like, oh fuck. So I go to New York. My dad still wants me to graduate. Call the school. This is before the internet, technically. It was when everyone had dial-up. The only way you could do it was to enroll in the Florida State Prison System's college degree system through correspondence. They'd send you a box of books, and you'd have to read all the books and then write about the books you read. And it was like a communications book. Like, it wasn't like a good book. So I had to write, one book was about Viking longships. And I was like, fucking a whole book about Viking longships. It was the hardest classes. I had to take 6 credit hours, the hardest classes I've ever taken in my life through the Florida State prison system. And then I ended up passing, and I finally fucking graduated. But I can't imagine getting a degree in college. It was, or in prison. It would be so, like, I read every fucking book and just wrote. So yeah, I ended up getting the fucking degree.
And then you were a doorman at the Boston Comedy Club.
Yeah, doorman at
on
Boston.
4th Street.
Yeah, no, third.
You
What
never
year
did
was
spots
that?
there? Yeah, that's
Yeah,
how you
what
guys
year
know
was
each
that?
other.
90, probably 98, 99.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Louis Schaefer? The gay guy. Not gay, but his whole joke was Louis Schaefer, not gay.
Oh, yeah,
Chocolatey black man, not gay. Like he always wore the same thing.
I
like
do remember that, yeah.
I had gone down there in '94 to do an open mic. Again, one of the most intimidating places. I went down there.
That was a tough room.
And Dave Chappelle was there, Nick DiPaolo was there, and who else? There was somebody else there, and I had to go up at the end and do 3 minutes of just bombing material.
That's what I did my first.
Oh my God!
My first 6 months, I'd go up at the end.
Yeah, that's a hard
And it's
room.
so funny that you got to experience somebody. I've heard all the stories about Tracy Morgan that you tell.
Fuck.
And it's really hard to describe that individual if he's really up there craziness wise, and you got to experience it. How fucking crazy is he?
You know what's so funny? Tony Woods. You know Tony Woods?
Yeah, I know Tony Woods.
Tony Woods was there that night with me. Tony,
at the club.
When Tracy and I
that's how you take
smoked
care
PCP, yeah.
That's how you take care of a bartender.
Yeah, he was there that night. So
that is fucking hilarious.
So you know how you remember a story in your head? Like you know how you tell a story to someone, and the way you tell it, if your husband or wife is there, they go, "That's not what happened," and you're like, "Bullshit! Don't fucking." Especially as comics, because we enhance the story and we tell it where it's good and where it's we juice it and we pull some information to heighten the delivery.
Oh, right,
and so. Tony calls me this weekend in DC. Calls me. I'm on stage. I answer the phone. I go, Tony, what are you doing? He goes, I'm at some comedy club. I go, come on, get up on stage with me. Come over to the improv. He's like, Shorty, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Click. Tony Woods gets on stage and he goes, let's tell the Tracy Morgan story. He goes, you tell it the way you remember it, and I'll tell it the way I remember it. Mother of God. I tell it like such an innocent bystander, but when Tony tells it, he's like, you were the one that got Tracy to take his shirt off. He was like, you were standing on the couch. I was like, I was very innocently just hanging out. And he was like, no, you were the reason they kept looking at us, because Tracy was just drinking and being loud, but you were the white guy with his but it was fucking, so yeah, Tony was there that night, and then we told the story, and the only thing we have correct is that there was a fight, that we both were outside when Tracy got thrown out, and then the other night he snapped his shirt and he goes, now that's how you get out of paying a check. That's the only thing.
That is, and it's just, I had never experienced him. I had watched Saturday Night Live maybe once or twice. I had never even known anything like that.
Yeah.
And the first day I met him, like people always go on Twitter, it would be nice to hang out with you and Rogan or whatever. And I'm like, you have no idea. You go home bored. You want to go out with somebody, you go out with Tracy Morgan. Because that'll make you think about your life, your future, where you stand, how you talk to women, how you don't talk to women. And then on top of all that, your inner fucking ghost or whatever's inside of you is howling.
Yeah.
He's howling the whole time because it's just I remember like being with him for 6 weeks in Santa Fe, and every time I would see him, it was a different laugh. And what he would say to people, he would say shit to Adam Sandler that was way beyond comprehensible, and Adam would just shrug it off and laugh. Really? It's Tracy.
Yeah.
It's fucking Tracy. What are you gonna argue with him? What are you gonna say? And he means it all, but it is No written. There's nothing written. There's nothing thought about. It just comes out of him.
He was so... I remember he came up a lot around that time, would come up and get on stage. And I remember thinking he had such a weird eye for comedy. What he found funny, what the audience found funny, I often felt, I bet he didn't even know that was funny. And then what he found funny was so obscure. I remember he had an observational joke about, man, I got a pretty dick. You can suck my dick with the lights on. And I was like, and I remember going like, that's
a pretty dick.
Yeah, I was like, and then I was thinking, I don't think I've ever gotten a blowjob with the lights on. I don't think I've ever gotten, I don't think I've ever presented my penis to anyone with like halogen bulbs and like, take a look, ever, except for the doctor. And I'm like, oh, that, like, but I go, if he had worded it different, or if he had just approached, like, what he's ultimately talking about is being insecure. Like, it's such a fucking weird. Who remembers finger fucking by the handball courts? And I'm like, no one did that. You're the only one that did that. Who the fuck?
But he's from Yonkers, New York. So
yeah, when he grew up,
it's
neat
there.
when you meet people that grew up differently. Where did you grow up?
I'm an Army brat, so I grew up a little bit everywhere. But I wanted to say that I've met Tracy a couple of times. My ex-husband is his manager, and when we met, it was always in a familial sense, like that he would bring his family over for dinner, and he is like the coolest guy around kids. He's a lot of fun.
I'll never forget this. Oh, and now once again, this is Tracy Morgan lore. One of my friends was working at ICM, and they were courting him to be a client. This is when he started getting big, and Tracy apparently was like, yeah, we can go to lunch, dinner, we can meet, but I'm bringing my family. And they were like, all right. So he brought his family and then a bunch of other people for his son's birthday, and had him do it like Davis Buster's, and had ICM pay for his son's birthday.
That's genius, by the way. That's genius. That's genius. That's what you should do.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, you want to take me to lunch? Sure. Hey, when's your birthday? Just do it on the 10th. I was like, fuck. But he's always been, I've never had bad words with the guy. I only hung out with him one night, really. And I had a good time with him. But yeah, he's an interesting guy.
I hung out with him for 4 weeks. And since I had the same patois as he navigated, and I was kind of intimidated by him. Like I was insecure around him because of who he was. But after a few weeks, I got into his patois with him. And it was great because when I came from Cuba, those were the type of black kids I hung out with. Yeah. They were the ones that courted me. So hanging out with them really brought me back. Like when I came from Cuba, I still remember my first friend. His name was Jasper Williams. He was a black kid, and he lived on 127th and Audubon in those beat up fucking buildings off 125th Street. And I'll never forget that he would walk me into his building. And at the time, it was still racial, was still a little weird. And the brothers with the afros, with the hair picks, would say, Jappa, why you bringing that white boy into the building? And he would turn around and say, he's Cuban, motherfucker, shut the fuck up. And I would be blown away, like, you talk like that? Like, it was just... And when I met Tracy for the first time, he brought me back to that. Like those kids from New York that were black and solid. But he's from Yonkers, which when the lights go down up there, or it used to be, that's a different fucking planet. They never mention Yonkers. They talk about the 5 boroughs, don't they? Yeah. Yonkers is never mentioned. That's a fucking reason. They got a racetrack out there.
I can't imagine growing up like that.
It's Mary J. Blige and him. Those are people from Yonkers. Fuck. It's just and his patois, his voice isn't really New York. Yeah. The way he talks like that's something different. That's old school like that. Yeah. So it's pretty weird. Like the funniest thing he did with me is he had a white girl on his lap, and he kept asking if she wanted to have a black baby. You want to have a black baby? Shit, because I'm in the mood to get a black baby. And I'm sitting there dying of fucking laughter. Yeah. And people, like at first when we were coming up to him, oh my God, you're from Saturday Night Live. And he would say something to him so outlandish that they were like, okay, nice to meet you. He would just push him into deep waters. Like, you want to suck a black dick, let's do this shit. Yeah. There ain't going to be no telling stories or Adam Sandler and shit. You want to suck my black dick. And they told me, like, some women, like, cute. Like, I went to Chicago, and my screen broke on my phone. And they said, can you come back in an hour? So I went to Sprint, and I seen a white chick pitching a black guy, and it was hysterical. She's like, "Oh my God, I work for a non-profit organization," and I'm sitting there going, "You know what? You could say he'll let you suck his dick. He's a black dude. He'll let a fat blonde chick with dyed hair suck his dick. You're in no danger. You're a skinny brunette. Go for it, bitch." You know. I mean, black guys don't give a fuck, and Tracy's one of those guys that really doesn't give a fuck. I mean, you look at his success. He must torture the people at NBC. He must torture all those people, but they just go, "We got to deal with it."
Yeah, I don't think he's acting at all on 30 Rock. He's such an interesting kind of guy. There's a clip online of him talking about playing high school football. It's like some guy shooting a documentary, and Tracy goes from like talking about being a young comic to talking about how it's like football. And yeah, Donnell Williams, you better not pull that Doug Flutie shit. Just starts going into this character of a coach talking to his quarterback. "You ain't Doug Flutie, Donnell. You ain't," like, just out of nowhere, and you're just like, "Oh my God, he's fucking genius!" Like he's just like a savant, like a comedy savant. Like he did fucking 5 minutes at the Boston Comedy Club about shopping for porn. He didn't say any words for 5 minutes. He was just getting objects down and looking at them, and it was like, oh my God. But yeah, I'm shocked to hear that you would be intimidated around anybody, because you're the most intimidating person, I think, in comedy.
He is.
You think Joey is?
He's one of those guys. Well, Joey's like you're one of the nicest guys and the sweetest guys. No one will ever say oh, he's a mean guy, but you're just, there are very few comics like you. There actually is no one like you. And especially in the back of a comedy club, when you see the list of people and you look at the list and you're like, Dimitri Martin, Bert Kreischer, Ari Shaffir, Duncan Trussell's, Joey Diaz, and then you see you stand alone. You are literally, there's like probably 10 guys like me, 20 guys like Dimitri, 30 guys like Ari. I'm those numbers are skewed. I'm making it, but I mean, there's a lot of guys that do, like Dane, like that are similar to me.
There's no copies, in other words.
There's no one like you. There's no one.
That's true.
There's no one like him. And so in a weird way, in a business where everyone's trying to be independent, you then become one of the most intimidating people around.
It's really weird because, like I said, I base everything off of fear. Like after I do something, I walk out of something, I go, "Ooh, if they only knew."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's, if they only knew. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was doing General Hospital, and that was the first time, because as you're driving to this gig, you're thinking about all the things that you don't add up.
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck are these guys going to let me in those studios? If they knew that 10 years ago I robbed a fucking blind guy, or whatever's on your mind. And then you go in, and you're like, well, now I'm a bunch of around actors. I'm a stand-up. So all your insecurities come in. But then when you're in that energy, it pops up. And that's what happened with Tracy and Chris Rock in that movie.
Yeah.
I got to this movie. I was a stand-up comedy from the store doing Blow at night. And all of a sudden, I'm in this fucking greatness.
Yeah.
And it's like anything else, like you said about the jump. You're right there, man. Fear is, sometimes you don't even, I do everything because of fear.
Yeah.
When I used to walk into a room, when I was 15, I walked into a room in Harlem to get a bag of weed. I knew that if I gave a little bit of fear out, they're like dogs.
Oh.
They're going to chew you.
Yeah.
Yo, dog, you going to give me that $5 you were talking about? Next thing you know, I'm here to buy a bag of weed. What $5? Next thing you know, he's got 4 guys coming over. They smelt it in your walk.
Yeah.
So that walk to get the weed, I was fearful as shit. But I just composed myself. I just acted it out. And that's with everything. You just have to act it out in your mind. I'm scared of the weirdest things, but you don't know that till you get older. Yeah. That I always thought that, I was motivated. I was, what's all those words people use, inspired? Yeah. No, I was scared to pieces.
Yeah.
I was scared to fucking death half the time. What we do is fucking scary. But you close your eyes and you get a fucking chair and you walk into the lion's mouth and you let the pieces fall where they may.
Don't you kind of enjoy like being scared? Like for me, when I do
I love
stand
it.
up, or when I was 18, I was a stripper, and but I remember doing it because fuck it, it scared me, but I also enjoyed the rush, So you must have enjoyed the rush tremendously.
I'll take a job. I took Bert the Conqueror out of fear. So I was like, I don't want to do any of that shit. But then I was like, man, but if I do it, then at my funeral, the guy that owned the Des Moines Funny Bone, Paul.
Yes, good guy.
Yeah, good guy.
Used to be at Funny Bone in Indiana.
Yep.
and then he went up to Des Moines. He died recently.
He died a year ago, or roughly a year ago. And 3 years ago, when I was getting Bert the Conqueror, I was sitting at the bar with him. I just got my blood work back from my heart, and I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And he was like, and I got offered Bert the Conqueror, and I was like, Paul Lane. And I said to Paul, I go, I don't think I'm going to do it. And he goes, why not? What, are you fucking crazy? He's like, life's all about having a great funeral. If you can do this, you'll have pictures of you at your funeral, jumping out of buildings, jumping off of planes, jumping with lions and tigers and a big wave surfing in Hawaii. It'll look like you really fucking lived your life. And that's what it's about. And I was like, you're fucking right. And then and the opening thing we were going to do is bungee jump out of a helicopter into an active volcano. And I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it. I'm doing this. And I ended up signing up for the show. And then, of course, cut to 3 months later, I'm throwing up in a hotel room and going, I made some fucking poor life decisions.
Fear works in two ways. I mean, we all started in the same place. We didn't start in L.A.
Yeah.
Just that jump of saying, you know what? I'm going to L.A. I got $1,800. Or I got, in my case, I had $160 in a fucking RV. Everybody had different situations.
I had $40.
What makes you...
I had a lot of money.
Really?
Yeah, because I just signed a deal with Will Smith. Okay. And they gave you $20,000 to move out. And I was like, I'm getting $20,000 to move out. And then I pissed through every cent I earned. I earned so much money my first 2 years in this business. I can't even put it in perspective. I had 2 deals. Will Smith and CBS had a TV show for 2 years. And I was making so much money, and then it ended, and I didn't. I was like, I'm gonna fucking go back and host at the Improv. I was like, I'll just wait till the next TV show comes around. And then a year went by, and I was nothing. I hadn't booked anything really. And then I was like, well, I missed stand up, and then I got back into stand up a little bit, and then meet my wife, move in together, get pregnant, laying in bed. I'm gonna take off 2 months from the road. I'm making $700 as a feature on the weekends. 2 months, I'm going to take it off to be around for the birth of my daughter. And I had that's when I ran out of all my money. My financial planner called and he was like, you're broke. I was like, what? And he goes, you're broke. You're going to pay 40, 50 grand in taxes in April. And then all the money's going to be gone. So you need a job. And I was like, motherfucker. And so I've been working from myself from that point. But being broke and that fear, that fucking panic that set in, I'll never forget it. I laid in bed next to my wife, who's pregnant. I'm the only one that knows we're broke. I know we have no money. And I laid in bed next to her going, so this is what it feels like to be a man. Like, this is what men do. Like, you just, that's it. I'm broke. Okay. I got fucking nothing. I'm a fucking failure. And I was just like, and then I just, I never had the balls to call up agents or managers or club bookers and go, I need money. I never had the balls. I wanted to seem like I was successful, so that's why people would want to work with me. Then I called up everyone, and I called Erin at the Improv, and she gave me 8 feature weeks back to back to back. Literally got me not out of a hole because I had to pay for flights this year, but that, man, I remember that, and going to a new club. Does anyone really remember the feeling of going to a new club that you've never been at? You're not getting paid a ton of money and having to prove yourself to the entire wait staff, the manager, the booker,
the other comedians,
all the fucking.
Well, imagine being a young girl and trying to do that. I mean, it was terrible. And then all the features and the openers, they were guys, and they would be like, "Fuck her," and they would try to do their best material and get. It was like a fucking nightmare, but I enjoyed it.
I can't imagine being a woman in comedy. I've just recently realized how absolutely sexist comedy is in general. I had a woman featuring for me or hosting for me, and every night they were like, all right, you guys ready for your first comedian? She's a really funny girl. And every night, and I went, that plants a seed in the audience's head where it's really funny / girl, and I was like, man, just call her. I didn't realize how sexist comedy was until recently, and how sexist I fucking was. I remember saying shit. I remember I brought Janine Garofalo on stage one time, and I was like, you guys ready for this next woman? Just planning that it's a female, that it's different, that it's not, this isn't a pirate ship, we got a chick here. I think that's how I brought her up. Oh, fucking.
It's really
Did she,
weird to see.
She did
anything
not like me.
Yeah.
I don't
She
like
wouldn't shake
saying
my
that
hand.
either. I don't like
Yeah.
saying a funny lady. It seems weird. Just bring her up.
Yeah, just
After
bring her
I
up.
did,
comedian
after I
comes-
did Playboy, this one comic somewhere, I think I was in Action Chattanooga where I'm going to be in March, but this one comic brought me up, and your tits look really good, Felicia Michaels. I was like, really, dude? Really? Really? You know? Anyway.
It's amazing how, I get a lot of emails. We both get a lot of emails to the podcast. And people are always thinking of doing shit. And I say to them, don't email me no more until you get on fucking stage.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Trust me, and I don't mean to be cold to you, but we have nothing to discuss.
Yeah.
Once you get on that stage and you feel what comes from the stage, then get back to me. Then we have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And that's with anything. Fear could work both ways. Fear could either stop you from doing things completely, or they could bust you out into the fucking open. When I was a kid, I had a bad habit of looking at the want ads every day. Don't know why. From the time I was in the 5th grade, I would look at the want ads and say, they're looking for 22 carpenters. Maybe that's what I should do. But they're looking for 85 printers. Maybe I should be a printer. You know what I'm saying? They're always looking for help at this car dealer thing,
Yeah.
And that was one of my fears. When I was 19 in Colorado, I was alone. I was a burglar. I was taking classes at college, and I was shit blood. I had an ulcer.
Yeah.
I remember going to the doctor and him going, dog, let me just talk to you. Let's get this out. Life is life. Let the pieces fall. You can't control it. And I never had an ulcer again. I stopped shitting blood. I was fearful, that scared of life. I was an only child. I was addicted to drugs. I thought any day I was going to go to jail. I was just waiting to go to prison, and I was just scared of everything. But when I had an idea, I went for it, and you have to go for it. And it's not the balls that get me to go for it. It's the fear.
Yeah.
And I put this together a few years ago, and I'm like, I love it. Now I know how to for me to respond, I got to be scared. I got to go, really, motherfucker? Fuck it. It's like years ago, I was on probation. I had 2 felonies in Colorado, and some guy was taunting me. And you know what happens when you have 3 felonies? They hit you with 25 fucking years.
Yeah.
So I let this guy torment me because of those 25 years. Well, the day I said, fuck you, the party's over now, to bring on the 25 years, the party ended for him. I ended up smacking him, and the charges got dropped. But that fear held me back. And every time you conquer your fear, it makes you a stronger person.
You were going to college, so you went for 7 years, right?
Yeah. So 6.5, 7.
So did you ever, during any of that point, think that your life would turn out this way?
No. I was the guy that people looked at like, at least I'm not Bert. Like I don't think anyone thought I would ever make any money, let alone be married and happy and have children and be a stable individual. I think my best case scenario for jobs, probably I was going to either move to DC and try to work for my uncle, or like sell carpet in East Georgia. Like, literally I had maybe sell boats in Orlando. Like I would have been a good salesman, I think. But I remember one of my buddies' dads was a very successful lawyer in Tampa, and after the Rolling Stone article came out, I was like, I don't know, maybe what am I going to do? And then he called me. His name's Benny Lazara, old school Tampa. It's the guy we were talking about from Goodfellas.
Right.
That's his uncle. So he old school Tampa, but very well respected as an attorney, like one of the best attorneys in Tampa. And he called me up out of the blue. I hadn't talked to him in a few years. And he said, Bert is Benny Lazara. I said, hey, Benny. And he goes, I want to talk to you about your future. What are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to get a speech from a dad about you need to get serious, stop this partying shit. You need to get, and he goes, you need to seize this opportunity and make the most out of it as you can. Because if you really want to be a comedian, you're going in the right direction. You need to move to New York. You need to take it seriously. You need to be real focused. Get everyone's number you talk to. And literally I did. I just started getting everyone's number that I spoke to. I remember I telling everyone that I met right after that, like, hey, if you have a friend that can help me get into stand-up. And one guy was like, I got a buddy, his name's Jason Steinberg. He just started his own company. Send him a tape. So I sent Jason Steinberg a tape. And that was my only connection. Him and David Wayne, guy from the State. They're my 2 connections in comedy. And I moved to New York based on those 2 connections. Went and saw David Wayne at some alternative comedy club and saw comedy, and then met with Jason Steinberg, and then kind of, through all that. But yeah, I think if you had to like write a 1 sentence underline of what will this guy be doing in 10 years, everyone would be like, fucking tending bar, selling boats, nothing. Yeah, I don't think
If you were selling boats, did you think like this is the problem I always had. Like I always started just getting a day job, and I was like, when I'm getting a day job, I liked it, whether it was building a wall with bricks or whatever. But there was always something that I thought I wanted more.
Yeah.
It wasn't even about the money I was in search of. It was just something I wanted more for my life, and that was one of my fears. And with stand-up, it's amazing the transformation with stand-up, how people come up to me now and go, can I ask you a question? I've been doing comedy for 5 years. When do you start making money? It's up to you.
Yeah.
It really is up to you. I mean, if sometimes people pay you and you're like, oh my God. I better cash this before they realize I'm a fucking bum. You know what I'm saying? And there's some people, but it's to the point now with stand-up where I like doing it for free. Like that's how I know I picked the right fucking thing. Like
I do it. I don't even realize I'm getting paid.
I'm getting paid. It's so
amazing.
Well,
the thing is, it's a very freeing thing to say to yourself, whether I make money or I don't make money, I gotta let the fear go of, am I going in the right direction? And you just embrace through thick or thin. This is what the fuck I'm doing. I think a lot of people struggle at that point, of just always questioning it. Am I doing the right thing or going the right direction? But once you let everything go, and you're like, fuck it, I'll do it free, I'll do it for money, I just am doing it,
Yeah.
I gotta participate.
Money has that's a really interesting That's a really interesting point, because money has no bearing on how I don't do it better for more money. I do the exact same thing for $3,000 as I do for $14,000. Like it doesn't matter what you pay me, I'm gonna do the exact same fucking thing. Like I don't look at a shit makeup week from last year. I still am doing makeup weeks from two years ago, where I'm getting paid what I was getting paid 2 years ago, and I just go, hey, I got to honor that money, and I do the same show. I do it for free. When we do the Ice House Chronicles and we go out there, I do the same fucking show, and it's for free. I absolutely love it. It's such a neat, it's such a neat thing. Not only just doing it, but what's neat is like when you're just sitting and you're writing jokes in your head. Like this morning, my daughter was telling me about Martin Luther King. So they just learned about Martin Luther King. It's Black History Month, and his birthday was like 2 weeks ago. And my daughter was told me at school, at drop off, Daddy, he was the greatest man to ever live. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah, Daddy. And I go, what did he do? And she goes, Daddy, he let black people sit down. And I thought that was so fucking funny, because clearly she's mashed up Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King. And so then I do drop off, and then the whole time I'm writing jokes in my head. I'm like, oh, I want to say that, but then I'm going to tell her that I'm like, fuck it, why not mash them all? And he also created peanut butter, and he wrote throw some D's on that bitch. Like, and so I'm writing in my head, and I'm thinking, how lucky am I that my job is just to hear something funny, to interact it, and then to put it in my brain, and then to play with it all morning as I do all my shit, just to play with this concept, and then that's it. That's all I have to do as a fucking man. I don't have to do paperwork. I don't have to file shit. I don't have to be at the courthouse at a certain hour. I just gotta play with a fucking idea all morning. I was like, this is fucking awesome.
And you said something that was really amazing, like, when is this gonna run out?
Yeah.
And it's so weird how every morning we wake up and you're like, is this the fucking day that they're gonna discover I'm a farce,
Yeah.
What's the day? When are they gonna realize that this guy's not worth it? We got a 21-year-old.
Here's the thing, right? So like, and I'll say this, whatever I say about you, I'll say in half amount about myself. But like, you are a man, and I am the same type of man, but different. We grew up in different lives. But you're the man who's lived such an interesting fucking life that all you have to do is talk about it. Like, that's all people want to do, is just hear. You're a living piece of artwork, and I think in some respects I'm probably half the shadow of that. Like I've had interesting things happen to me, and I've done interesting things, and I just need to live about it. Then the other day I was thinking, man, I'm kind of gotten lame. Like, I don't know if I've done anything really dangerous. Like, what am I going to talk about 5 years from now? Like, when I've told all my stories, when all my adventures are on paper. And they're out in the open, and what am I going to talk about then? Like the mundane shit that I do now. Like, that's what I start wondering. Like, will I really talk about trying to grow a ficus in my backyard? Like, because that's my big passion right now, is grow ficus.
It's amazing how Felicia and I did this for a year with no guest. And we would just discuss different situations. And one day I said to Felicia, we're running out of fucking stories. You know what I'm saying? And,
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting scary here. And I went home and I made notes. And you know what, man? I tell you what, a story, it could be going to 7-Eleven and buying a soda.
Yeah.
It's just what you took from that and the level of what you took. It's really weird. If you think of all your stories, yeah, they're funny, you know, the first year here, I sat here and I would tell Felicia my truths and I'd watch her on the other side like I couldn't even give her eye contact, you know, because I felt terrible. And for the first time, I had to get it out.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you
Like
gotta,
the time we're hanging out and he's like, you know, I'm a convicted felon. What? I let you around my children.
children!
What?
You know, and
Why
it's-
didn't you tell me that before I went out and bought these microphones?
you know, it's
Before I bought the microphones.
and it's weird when you tell somebody a situation of your life, but then you explain to them what you took from it. And that's what the whole story is about. I don't even focus on the stories no more. I'm in the shower thinking of stupid shit. Like, how did I learn to fucking sweep? The other day I was thinking about how I learned to sweep.
Oh, that's so fucking genius.
You know, how did I learn to sweep? Who taught me how to sweep? And I'll never forget going for a job one day at Rendell Lumber and Marine. This is a true story. And he goes, before I hire you, do me a favor. I'm going to come in and work for a few hours. And I went to work for a few hours. And he goes, go sweep my office. And in his office was a little green box in the center of the thing. And I was fucking a big-time thief. So I'm sweeping the office, and I look in the box, and it's filled with cash. And all I had 40, so all I needed was a 20. 10 for the half a gram and $10 for beer.
Yeah.
I'm good, you know what I'm saying? I took a 20, and he goes, take the job. And then later on, he called me up, and he goes, you know, I counted the money, and there was a 20 missing. You took a 20 out of here, you know? And he goes, I'm still going to give you the job. You know, it's just amazing. You think of all these fucking things, and the story's about me stealing a 20, but not really, because he's like, you're a good sweeper because you move the desks and shit.
Yeah.
He goes, that's why I'm hiring you, because a lot of people come in and sweep, but they don't move shit when they sweep. You came and swept, so because of that, don't worry about the 20.
It's almost like a twofold challenge.
Yeah, it was
like
like
a
a
Zen master. Like, I'm going to put money in the center of the room, and I'm going to keep dirt under the desk. I want to see which one's better.
Yeah, and I was a good sweeper, so he let me fucking take
so
the job, even though I
fucking
stole the 20. And I went on to destroy him. Like, by the time I quit that place, his bank account was
I love it. Did you think this was going to end beautiful?
It was
like a Karate Kid sweeping moment.
It was a New Jersey job.
Destroyed it.
And the kid who gave me the job, Bert Kreischer, this is how crazy this was.
God.
The kid who gave me the job pulled me aside. He goes, do me a favor, steal.
Yeah.
He goes, everybody here steals, and if you don't steal, they're gonna know.
Oh,
He was so everybody at this place was stealing from. They had such. It was a boat marine plywood, $50 a sheet. You know, 4x8 marine AC plywood, $54, 4x8 1 inch. People would pull in the back and go, I need 55 sheets of. They're $56, but if you give me 30 cash, done. You know, I didn't leave there with $2,000. I was 16. The register was an old school register. So if somebody spent $200 and $2,000, let's say somebody spent $2,600 in hammers, I'd bring in $200. How are you paying for this cash? $200. And I put it in the register. At the end of the day, I had the math in my head. And I go to Jack Finn was his name, the other cash register guy, and I go, what did you steal? I got about 800. I got about 3,000. Let's cut it down the middle. And we cut it. He'd go get a gram of Coke, and by 6 o'clock, everybody at the place would be joined. Customers would come. You couldn't get customer service at this fucking place. And it was funny because the guy that had raised me, pseudo Carmine Balzano, was also robbing the place in a different capacity. He was a cop that was building a house for himself, but billing it to the town. So all these people would come in and go, let me get 25 sheets of plywood, bill it to the town, but deliver it to my house. So all these people were raping the town of North Bergen, but building and billing it. So when this place went down, finally Carmine took it over with a crew of other guys, and he turned it into a combination strip club flea market. So it was a flea market in the daytime, and at night it was a strip club. This is around the corner from the Meadowlands Inn.
Are you serious?
So finally, after everybody put heat on them, so in the daytime you go and they'd be building trinkets and Indians with feathers and shit. And at night it'd be 20 hookers from the city grinding that pussy on your face, and you're like, well, I came for a trinket. There's no trinket. There's black pussy, cocksucker. And finally, after the place went out of business, there was the whole thing, he tried to light it on fire.
Yeah.
So he went out there. That was his middle name, Carmine the Torch Balzano, because he was a driver for the mayor, but he also lit the buildings on fire for all the people in the neighborhood. And he lit the thing on fire, and 3 kids were outside riding their bike, and they're like, "Mister, the building's on fire." He's like, "No, it ain't. It's just a little smoke." He's like, "Here's $20. We'll get ice cream."
Yeah.
So the kids went and called the police, and then they wanted to interview him, and he faked a heart attack. I mean, I come from a great town. Because when you do a crime, you fake a heart attack. That gives you and your attorney a couple days. They can't interview you to put the story together. These are all the things that happen out of this Rendell Lumber and Marine.
This all started. The title of this story is How I Learned How to Sleep. That's the fucking. It's like Leanne. My wife met him the other night for the first time, and she's heard me talk about him, and she's the lure of who he is. You know when you build someone up so big, and then when you first meet them, you're like nah, and so she built him up, and then we got in the car after hanging out with him for maybe an hour at Ralphie's birthday party, and Leanne got in the car. My wife's old school redneck. She goes, "I could watch him eat crackers." I said, "Are you serious?" She goes, "He's one of the most interesting guys."
Where's your wife from?
From Georgia, fucking real small town, 1,200 people.
See, I get along perfect with anybody south.
Yeah,
because we're fucking crazy.
Yeah, we're crazy. She was like, crazy.
They understand.
He is fascinating.
Even if they're Christian.
Yeah.
Even if they're Christian, they know and they don't judge. It's the fucking people up north. They're like, "Oh my God, he's a criminal." People down south will go, "You know what? Whatever. Just don't leave a purse around him. Don't bring him to church. You won't have no problem. Give him a gun.
Yeah.
He's great with a fucking gun. That's what they like.
Joey was telling me today, we were having coffee. He goes, yeah. He's like, "Dog, I heard all these stories about you." And then he's like, "I got to see this guy. I got to see this." One night I go in and your name's on the lineup, and I go up and I watch you do stand-up, and I'm like, "No, I don't see it. It's not that good. It's not that guy. I'm not a big fan. I can't believe this guy robbed the train with the Russian mafia. I can't believe he partied with Tracy Morgan and smoked PCP. I can't believe and bullshit." And turns out he's on Mike Birbiglia do stand up.
Oh,
so the whole time I see Mike Birbiglia up there talking about Bibles and lollipops and writing a blog, and I'm hearing about fucking this guy, hooking and fucking mugging people on a train. So when Rogan and all those guys are telling me Bert Kreischer, I'm like, what? Stop. That guy will get, he'll faint if he sees a needle. Mike Birbiglia is very funny, but I can't see him fucking on a train robbing fucking Russians drinking vodka. So I always thought he was Mike Birbiglia for years.
Oh, that's really funny.
And then it's so weird how we all came, but we all had the Tom Segura, The good thing, and Felicia seen it, we're from a really, listen, there's a million comics, and they're all good.
I know, because they're all my friends on Facebook.
Right, they're all good and bad, and everybody has a problem with this guy or whatever. Listen, you know what? I don't have a problem with nobody because the circle that we're in is solid.
Is a very tight.
And when somebody fucks up, they fall out of the circle on their own. You don't have to throw people out. Did you notice that? They'll fall out of the circle. They'll do something stupid, call an agent. They'll do something that's just on. I'm a stand-up comic, and before I was a stand-up comic, I was a man, and I didn't. I never respected that. When I first came to this town, I didn't respect the man part. I thought you had to be at parties and talking to people that that didn't care about you. And then one day I was like, wait, whoa, this comedian shit is what I do for a living. The same way a plumber.
Yeah.
Before anything, I'm a man. You have to respect me as a man, treat me as a man, and I'll respect you as a man. If you can't do that, let's not even communicate. I'm fine with that.
That is exactly Tom Segura and I said that one time.
I don't want to communicate.
I won't say I was a man, but let's just say that I was 26 when I started doing stand up, and so I lived like a man from 1 to 26, like gotten fist fights and I've been punched and I've punched people and I've had a beer bottle broken over my head. I've been sent to the hospital. I've had friends and I know how to interact around men. Like I know how to treat a man with respect and I know how to treat someone my age. I was in I've done it all technically grow up wise. And then I moved to New York and it was weird because a lot of comics weren't men. They were just like little boys who had their little boy rules, and it was like, and I had a hard time fitting in because I was like, I remember like one time someone had some blow and they were like, we're all gonna go out and party, and I was like, yeah, I'm going with these guys. And I remember other comics going, you can't do that, man. You can't, like, when I started barking at the door, three comics sat me down and they're like, you're not allowed to bark at the door. It means you're not a real comic. And I go, hold on, I'm a fucking grown up. I need money and I need to get on stage. I know that if I work that door, I'll get $100 a night, and that I'll get on stage at the end of the night. I'm getting on stage every night. It's not the best club in the world, but I'm getting on stage every night. And these guys are like, yeah, but other comics won't see you as a real comic. I go, I don't give a fuck. I'm not a real comic if I'm not getting on stage. I'm not a real comic to them anyway. Like, I'm a grown up. I'm living my own life, and I'm doing my own shit. And comics would come and they'd get like they'd talk aggressive or they'd say shit to me. That's why I related so well with the black comics, because they were all men too. Like, I remember Donnell Rollins and I were standing outside, and some fucking guy pulled up and asked me to watch his car, and Donnell Rollins looked at me and he goes, you better throw those keys right back at him. And because that's who all the black comics were, men. They were men at 16, so it was like this. But it was a weird, that's so interesting you say that, because Tom Segura and I agreed that like we were grown-ups when we started comedy. And then all of a sudden you have to, like, it's a weird kind of subservient lifestyle where you're like, I'm a host, then I'm a feature, I don't want to ruffle the feathers, then you become a headliner, I don't know, you know? Mm-hmm. It's really interesting.
It's so weird how I see an unhappy comic when I see unhappy comics. And you know when you see an unhappy comic or an unhappy person, it's because you were unhappy at a certain time. And you relate to that situation. And it's so weird when I see an unhappy comic, I see a guy that's adjusted to the system. And he doesn't have a voice anymore.
Yes.
Because for him to pay a living now, he has to act a certain way. That's why I respect somebody like Bob Saget, who had a kid show that's still up there doing cunt jokes. Yeah. You know, he don't give a fuck, and people run out of there like, where's the blondes and all this shit? You have to have a piece of you to be a great comic. And when I didn't have a piece of me was when I was just a floundering comic.
Yeah.
Because I was chucking and jiving to the beat of I want to show. You know, I have comics that have changed their whole life. Like, I have to do different material to get a show. What? What are you fucking talking about?
Yeah. Well, when I did comedy the first time and I quit for 8 years, you know, I was at that point where I wasn't enjoying it at all, and I was working constantly. But I was at that point, and it was because I was at that point where, like, is this really what I'm supposed to, questioning all the time, you know? And
and you're throwing alcohol on it, and you're throwing Coke on it, and you're throwing beer on it, and you're throwing a cigarette, and you're really, and all of a sudden one day, that's what happened to me. I just busted and said, that's it. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Nobody's going to talk to me like that. I'm not doing it. And I made these decisions that made me a better comic, but it connected my manhood with my comedy. And that people like, you made a big leap. No, I didn't. I just connected two fucking things. The 101 and the 405, it's a motherfucker of a connection. Oh. But once you connect it, it's easy. And that's what I did with comedy. And I think that once, and even it happens for a woman. Felicia's got more balls than most of the guys I know. If not, I wouldn't be in this fucking room with her doing this podcast. Yeah. And that's why I respect her. But she put it together. She took some time off, had to spit out some fucking kids, and she finally put the realm together, what's important in comedy. And that's what it is. What's important is that you're healthy. And you cannot be healthy if the guy on CBS wants to say, you know, chick, and they're like, no. It's better if they say lady. You know what? Yeah, they're paying me $25,000 a week, but that's got to affect you somewhere. Yeah. That you don't think that's funny, but somebody. And then Chappelle busted out, and they called him a crack addict. Yeah. But having a voice as a comic for yourself, I think, is the most important thing, and it's the same thing for life. You know, if your boss makes you work on Sundays and dig trenches, one day you're gonna say to him, you know what? I'm not doing this no more, dog. That's the day you grow the fucking most. You grow the most. Because he's going to fire you. You're going to sit at home and pout, and then you're going to get a job for $3 more an hour, and you're going to learn that it wasn't worth taking shit from somebody, you know, or a situation or whatever. I don't even know. Do
you still at this point think that you have so much more to learn about comedy?
Oh, yeah. 100%. And I'll say, and only because, I'll say this, and in realizing I'm halfway through this point, so I haven't figured it out totally. But what's happening now is that, as Joey and I were talking about this, is that I'm spending like the first 30 minutes doing stand up, like doing traditional stand up, more or less. Telling some jokes and telling some. I've always been a storyteller, but now at the end of my show, it's people yelling out stories. They're like, you know, flying dildos, Tracy Morgan, machine. They yell all my stories, and so now at the end, I'm telling 30 minutes of stories. And if I go long, I'm telling like 45 minutes of stories, doing an hour 15. And then I'm like, I would love. I mean, I never want to lose what I learned in stand-up, how to get up on stage, how to work a room, how to write a joke, how to do all that. But I'm going through this point where I was saying to Joey, is like, that's why it's so much fun doing podcasts, because I feel like I have too much to talk about in that amount of time. So I'm like, well, I wonder if I'm going to just, all the jokes that you can tell are a joke, I wonder if they're just going to find their way out of my act, and I'll just go up and tell stories. Just go up and just tell a story, maybe do some crowd work, tell a story. Like, and I'm kind of in a fucking weird place where I think I know I have a new hour because I was trying to write a new hour, but then all of a sudden it went from a new hour to a new 2 hours because I'm like, well, shit, I never ever planned on telling the machine story on stage. Now I tell it every time. That's a 10-minute story. A 10-minute story is a beast of a burden, as all of us can attest. To say, when I was 22, I got involved with the Russian mob. To start that and know I won't be done for 9 minutes and 50 seconds, you start going, and you're like, it's commitment. And then I go, all right, so now the machine story, I've got that well oiled, and I've got my beats in it, and I've tightened it, but it's still a 10-minute story. And then I go, if I tell one more story, we're talking about fucking 30. We're talking about like, so I wonder where that's taking me or where that's going. You know, I watch for fear of, I hate to talk negatively about any comic working, but there are comics that I've seen that you go, they never like grew. I'll just use an example of a positive. Louis C.K. was a joke writer. I thought he was one of the best joke writers around. I loved Louis C.K. And then when he went to what he's doing now, and he just started pouring out material, and it's so real, and it's so tangible, and his growth. I was there, I said this before, but I was there the first, when my daughter was born, I worked with David Tell the first weekend, and Louis C.K. the second weekend, and Daniel Tosh the third weekend. This is when Louis, he was a fill-in for Pablo Francisco because Pablo broke his leg. And everyone at the club, West Palm Improv, they were like, who is this guy? I've never heard of this guy. And I knew who he was from New York. And I was like, he's fucking genius. He's so good. You're going to love him. And he was then writing what is now the essential Louis C.K. 30 minutes that he did on HBO. That essential, like, no more absurd. I'm talking about real life shit. And it's his Chris Rock hour. And man, when I saw that, I was like, holy shit. Why is he doing that? He should be writing. He should just be telling the jokes that kill. Why isn't he just killing? Why isn't he just murdering and getting a standing ovation? He'll get more friends on MySpace that way. He'll get more friends on and now I look at him and I go, mother of God.
Brilliant.
All the people who didn't do that, I'm going, okay, so now clearly he got rid of all the bullshit, and I still have the bullshit in my act. I have to. I think I have to sometimes. Carrot, cucumber joke. You know, like a joke, a straight up joke. Mm-hmm. And then I go, I hope I'm on that path. Because you look at guys who didn't, and you're like, you know, like, fuck, like, how can you compare gelato and ice cream? You know, like, you know, or what Louis doing is such, you know, it's so.
Well, what Louis doing is opening up the door for guys like myself and you.
Yeah.
Felicia once paid me a great compliment. She goes, Joey, you know what? You're a great storyteller. Accept it. Accept it. That's it. You know, Ron White is a great fucking storyteller.
I was going to bring up Ron
Accept
White
it.
because
She's the one that put it in my head.
Storyteller, yeah.
She's the one that said, Joey, you're on to something. Work it.
And here's the thing though, is now here, okay, now, and I'll just put this on the floor. So you're a fantastic storyteller. Hands down, probably one of the best, most natural storytellers. Now, is it fair to say that as comics, our job is to not only be a great storyteller, but then go within that story and write jokes? Like the machine story was a great story when I just tell it to you guys right here. We'd all laugh and giggle, haha. But I realized to tell it on stage, to bring it onto the stage, I had to really kind of work on it.
Right, you got to work.
And that is where it's hard because I don't ever, the reason I don't tell the Tracy Morgan story on stage, two reasons. Number one, I don't know Tracy. I don't know what he's going through. I know he just lost a kidney or something, and I don't want to fucking add on to his life. I don't want to fucking be the guy going around the country telling some outlandish story about his partying in early 2000, and you know. Also, that story includes a few real individuals, and if I turn it into a stage story, I've got to cut chunks out. I got to make chunks bigger. I got to, you know, the ending's great and the beginning's great, but I need to work on it. And I was like, I can't do that with a real human being story, with comics. Mm-hmm. Like, so now I'm thinking like, do you think about that? Like, say with like the Lucy Snorbush story or any of your stories, do you think, okay, I wonder if I can take them on the stage and chop it up as a comic and reconstruct it? Do you think that way?
Well, you know, you have stories and you want to use from people.
Yeah.
And some people obviously you can't use. On my CD, I told 2 stories at the end that the people, I can't even call my friend and tell them to buy the CD.
Yeah.
Because they're on it, they're going to flip.
Yeah.
They're gonna flip. They're gonna flip.
I had to call 2 people for my hour special and go,
Yeah.
hey, I'm telling everyone about the time we had acid went to Disneyland. Are you cool? And one of the guys is like, you don't say my name, right? And I was like, his name's Harper. And the reason I use his name, I have to use his name, is because he was so fucking stupid one time when we were high. He misspelled his name, wrote Happer, 2 P's, no R. I go, hey, Harp, you misspelled his name. Your name. He's like, oh, it happens. I was like, no, it fucking doesn't.
It doesn't happen.
I've never been in a rush. Like, catch you later, Burf. So, but yeah, so, and the realness is what almost draws you into it, right?
That's what gets me.
The realness, the things that are the subtleties of the reality of the story are the things that attach me to the story in a weird way. Like, you can't change Lucy Snorbush's name because it's such a great fucking name.
I've been with Felicia for a year, and that story never came to me.
Yeah.
We talked about kids. I tripped her. I tripped her playing kickball until this day. Once a week, I'm like, I hope she forgives me.
Yeah.
I don't even think about breaking into her house and eating her pussy.
Yeah.
Like, that was just another day in paradise for me. But I liked her so much, like, I didn't mean to trip her. And that's how that came up. I didn't remember that fucking story. I didn't remember, and just the name. Just Lucy Snorbush is enough to go, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah.
And just to say the fucking story, do I feel horrible? I feel fucking horrible. But this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is who I was. I did do it. What am I going to fucking do? So in a year, I get a letter from an attorney. I got to give her $2 million. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to call her up and go, Lucy, did I not eat your fucking pussy? And nothing happened. It was 36 years ago. There's no harm. There's no foul. Nobody got hurt. Let's just move on with our lives. And she'd go, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I mean, these are things that happen. It's hard to tell somebody. I could have changed that story around and said I'd called her earlier and made plans. I didn't, though.
Yeah.
I fucking broke into a house with a little ladder, you know, and years, like 3 days later, I'm like, you know, when you're off the Quaalude, you're like, I can't believe I climbed the ladder to get into a girl's house for pussy. Felicia, what would you do if you seen me tapping on your window on a ladder like Belushi?
I'd push it away.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
You know, I mean, and this is your life, and this is what happens. And you know what? This is what makes your life. This is the story that St. Peter wants to hear. If you think St. Peter wants to hear, I got my degree in 4 years, or, you know, I was an 8.2 in college, St. Peter's going to take you aside and go, hey, tell me what happened that night, because I fell asleep. I only watched it on the tape of you eating her pussy.
Such a beautiful way to put
then
that.
I fell asleep.
That's a great way to put that.
I mean, this is your fucking life.
God, it's so fucking true.
I am sick.
Do you think St. Peter's is going to be like, so what did you do on the SAT? No.
Come here for a second. What happened that night at the? When you put a Coke rock in that chick's pussy? Was it sour? Did she have a period? I mean, what happened? What? I never did that when I was walking around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, just and guys, I was more embarrassed than anybody ever tell these stories. I was so embarrassed for years. Like stories about my house, my mother doing blow. Nobody wants to hear that shit. But then I watched Jesse Raphael, and they got kids that are crying because their mom did blow. I looked at it as, you know, learning from somebody else's experiences. That was the last thing I ever wanted to do, was put something up my nose because of my mother. And when I did it, it made me a weaker fucking man. When I quit doing it made me a stronger fucking man. You know, and
well, on that happy note,
you dirty bitch. How about a word from our sponsors real quick?
Let's do that.
I just want to say something that I was telling we discussed being men before. We discussed it at the Marie St. while I was drinking my latte with whipped cream on it. And it's so weird. I get emails every week. Hey, I do this. Can you mention me? I got a note this week from a guy. Ron's here. I can't see without my fucking glasses here. His name is Ron Williamson. It's ronwhatever.net. Ron, the second sentence there.
Ron Mart?
RonMart.net. He's a disabled veteran.
Ron Williamson.
He lost his job, and he started a leather company. And he contacted me like a man. He goes, hey, I'm struggling. I want to know what I need to do to help you, for you to mention my name with sponsorship. And I told him a number. And he wrote back and he goes, I'm struggling. I can't do that right now. But what if I sent you some money just to mention it? And I said, you know what? Keep your money. Let's talk about, Ron's, he's a good guy. He approached me like a man, and I want to give him a plug out. I looked at his webpage.
He ships leather?
He has great leather that he makes himself that I even told Felicia, these guys contact me like leather. And the leather jackets are $170 with free shipping. So, you know what, man? Everybody's having a hard time right now for Valentine's Day, your girlfriend. Yeah. Go to Ron's, what is it? Ron'sMart.net.
Ron'sMart.net.
Take a look at the leather if you like it. And, You know, if you buy a bunch of stuff, he'll sponsor it. Also, thank you for all the people that went to Amazon and ordered stuff for the website. I've gotten like 4 emails from people thanking us for doing that they helped us out.
Oh, great.
And I also want to give a shout out to my main man, Derek, over at taintedvisionart.com. Go on his webpage for Valentine's Day. They're great guys. He brought me a little lemon kush leaf this week for all you medical marijuana smokers or just regular smokers, or if you're doing heroin, go to taintedvisionart.com. Get yourself a little lemon fucking leaf and have yourself a nice time. What do you got for me, Felicia?
Well, and also if you would like to email Joey, if you've never done that, you can email Joey at beautyandthebeastpodcast@gmail.com. He does answer quite a few emails, and we are thankful for the listeners and thankful when you send the emails.
And my man Bert Kreischer will be at the Brea Improv Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes.
And I'm having my surgery tomorrow. If I'm allowed to limp around, I think me and Felicia are going to take a ride down there and do a set with you.
Great.
Say hello to your fans.
We'll do. Let's do storytelling, like 3 stools on stage, and we'll just tell stories.
When is this? What night?
Thursday. Oh, you have the children this week?
I'm working Thursday.
Where at?
Flappers.
And Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So
you're gonna be there Friday?
Yeah,
Saturday?
I'm gonna come down one of the nights when I'm because I get the bandages off on Thursday.
I'll definitely drive you down.
I'd love to come down and watch your set. And
That'd
see
be
what
great.
You do. Bert, I was telling
awesome.
Joe Rogan before I contacted you that after I watched you at the Ralphie May thing, and Felicia knows this, I don't like a lot of people. And I really like you. I love you. I love what you stand for. You've never judged me. You never judge anybody. You're such a fucking, it's Van Wilder who they based off you. And I kept calling you Van Helsing. So somebody else would have got mad at me, but here's the type of guy this guy is. And if you get a chance to watch him, he's great, and his heart is right there on his fucking sleeve. And these are the comics we bring on the show, man. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I've heard
I
your
love
name
you to
so
death.
many places, and it's really been a pleasure
really
to meet
fucking
you.
sharp guy.
I'm all, thanks, guys.
Now you go pick up your girls and cry to them now. You're not gonna believe this. Thank you, motherfuckers. We love you. Stay black. Throw a kiss, Bert Kreischer. All right.